we start thinking.
Yes. Alright, so last time we ended with saying that we were gonna start with Ambrose this week, which actually kind of ties in because well, we'll see. So Ambrose was more of a late 4th century theologian. He was more of a statesman. According to legend, he was actually, let me back up. The Bishop of Milan, which is where Ambrose is, prior to him was a very staunch Arian. Because unfortunately, unlike the way most of us would love it to be, whenever the heresies were like officially ruled on, they didn't go away. In fact, we have little spurts of Arianism still here today. Same thing with Gnosticism and several other things. So they never really go away. It's kind of like weeds. You just kind of have to constantly go out there and pluck them. But the Bishop of Milan before Ambrose was a very staunch Arian. And so when he passed away, supposedly, according to legend, the crowd rose up and was like, him! He's going to be our next bishop. And he was very much not a Arian at all. He was very much Orthodox. And I've already forgotten the emperor's name. But he was very good friends. I think it was Theodosius. I want to say that's correct. He was very good friends with the emperor.
You're right.
Theodosius.
Theodosius.
So he was very good friends with Theodosius, and Theodosius was a Christian. During this kind of time period, you had like emperors who would support Arianism versus not support Arianism, and it kind of flip-flop back and forth. But one of the kind of funny stories there is that Theodosius did claim to be a Christian, but was actually excommunicated by Ambrose because he had a little bit of a temper. And so when there was a little bit of an uprising, he just kind of sent in the army and they killed like a couple thousand people, not all of whom were the like uprising. So one of the most known pictures of Ambrose is literally him like barring the doors of the church to the emperor, who has the anger issue. And it's just kind of like, you sir have guts. But
He's like, the emperor's coming. No, he's not. I know.
yeah, so he did like excommunicate the emperor, and then I don't remember the rest of the story, but
That's funny.
that's homework for y'all. But so Ambrose was not but when he became bishop, he was not a well-known theologian. He was not very well versed in theology. He was, however, a very good statesman. So he could preach like the best of them. He just spent his first early years as a bishop learning theology. But the interesting thing is, he was such a preacher that even Augustine, when he was not a Christian, when he was still a Manichaeist, that's a mouthful, but anyway, knew of Ambrose and his preaching, went to go hear him preach, and that was actually kind of the first thing that kicked off his conversion. So Ambrose is kind of directly-ish related or involved with Augustine's conversion. So Augustine, who is St. Augustine of Hippo, the one everybody at least knows the name of, wrote The City of God, which is pretty good. Again, you can go through and read pretty much anybody in the church fathers through Google search. Augustine was very influential, and he was influential in two primary ways that we're going to cover today. One of them is the theory of just war. So prior to Augustine, nobody had really thought about it. War was just war. You did it
kind of like how the Bible said it came around the times when the kings would go to war.
Yeah.
So it's like they were just
Um,
going to war.
yeah. And the church would either, the church was more or less kind of like, hey, war is killing. Killing is bad. We shouldn't do that. In general, I'm sure there was some that were more like, kind of on the other side of it, but not necessarily like go kill everybody, but not that far. But Augustine is the first one who actually wrote it down and actually kind of fleshed out the idea that there are certain criteria that should be met for a war to be considered reasonable and just. For example, if you're attacked, that's a just reason to go to war. And I think one of the other ones is like if innocents are, being slaughtered or something, something along those lines.
So the war on terror was a just war.
Do what?
So the war on terror was a just war.
Yes,
It devolved into something else,
yes, because we were attacked.
and innocents were
That
killed.
that whole war was, we've never quite had a war like that where we weren't really fighting like,
We weren't fighting a country. We were fighting a certain people.
well, even with like in Korea and Vietnam, like we weren't necessarily fighting an entire country
Yeah.
because they weren't country, like North Korea was not North Korea at that time.
It was just all.
It was Korea and there was North and South, whatever. But there was a very clearly defined like geography of like 39th parallel.
This is where
You
bad
know
guys
exactly where they are in Vietnam. We can, whatever. The war on
Afghanistan.
terror is the first one where it's like we don't really know where they are. They're kind of in multiple countries. We're not really at war with those
Yeah.
countries, but we're gonna go in there and we're gonna have battles there and carry out military operations.
Some
That was weird.
some they know about, some they don't,
Yeah.
and they still don't.
Yeah, some of those are weird.
True.
But
And like, there's been a thing called 17-6, and they've done things you don't know about. I'm not gonna tell you about, but
so
surprise.
the other thing that Augustine really did well with and is known for is defending salvation, defending the orthodox view of salvation. So we have talked about this prior in our Baptist Faith and Message. We've talked about salvation. We've talked about it in some other classes as well. So give me 3 things about salvation
It's,
that we believe.
It's free.
Okay, so it's free. Free what?
free for us,
Free for us.
paid for by Christ.
Paid for. Yeah.
Okay,
Good
so
job.
it's free gift.
Yeah, it's free gift, yeah.
Alright, what's another thing?
By grace through faith.
Okay, so we have grace through faith. What's that? What else?
Once you're in His hands, nothing can take you away.
Okay, so it's secure. Yeah. Alright. So that's a pretty decent encapsulation of it. So now we're gonna talk about Pelagian and Pelagianism. So Pelagius was also a theologian at the same time as he was contemporary with Augustine. His argument was that humans were born morally neutral. We possess the free will to choose good without God intervening. And we can pretty much achieve salvation entirely on our own efforts with very little or no interaction with God. It's kind of the summation. It's a very rough.
So if you agree with that, the cross means nothing.
Well, it doesn't not mean nothing, but it wasn't completely necessary, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
It was like you can do good all your life, and if you slip up because of the cross, you can come back.
yes. So which is, I mean, obviously from an Orthodox, like it's a pretty stark contrast to be like this is nowhere in the Bible. Because I mean, Paul himself says, "No one is good, no, not one."
It's very clear that
And
we
the
all
Old
have the same
Testament says-
nature.
So, but it's interesting because way later down the road, who else proposed the theory that humans are morally neutral? And I may get this wrong. I mean, there's been a couple, but think noble savage theory. Society is what corrupts.
Oh, what's the dude's name?
I've already forgotten to. It's been, I closed last night, so it was. Been a long weekend. It's like right there on the tip of my tongue. But anyway.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Yes, Rousseau. So there's kind of similarities there, right? Because if you were to remove the societal pressures where man has basically chosen or learned to quote unquote sin, but not due to original sin, then they would. That's kind of the noble savage theory. If you remove a child.
The funny thing is, the original sin is like the root of everything else.
Yes.
It's just straight up rebellion.
Mm-hmm. So something interesting, and this is kind of an interesting little thought experiment. If you really boil down pretty much every single sin, it all comes back to pride.
Mm-hmm.
Because the focus goes from God and others to
What do I want?
me.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, back to this. So, Augustine was a proponent of, obviously, original sin. Man is not, like, man is born with the inherited sin of Adam. The relationship between God and man is broken. We need Christ to come back. Also, very much the divine must be involved in the process of salvation. Now, here's the fun thing, because we get into the whole debate of Calvinism versus Arminianism and whatever. I'm so tired of that debate. Because here's the answer: is it free will or is it predestination?
Yep.
Yes. Both are in the scripture. Both are taught. Both are there.
My thing about it is
How they work
this.
together? I don't know.
My
Ask
thing-
Jesus when you get there.
Yeah, my thing is this, it all deals with time and how it works. And when you have a God that is created time and is therefore outside of time, it's hard to explain things when it deals with time.
Well, and remember we kind of talked about this idea of like there's two approaches that we can have. We can either try to understand God from us to Him, in which we then end up kind of putting God in a box of like, this is rational logic and this is how you fit. And of course that doesn't work. Or you can take the other route, which is where you go, hey, here's God. I'm gonna like go inductive or deductive, or is it whatever, from God to me, and I'm gonna understand that he's much bigger than I am, and a being that I can't possibly understand.
Mhm.
So there's gonna be things that I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Trinity, how does it work? I don't know. It's there. I don't know how it works. And then the third thing specifically is that man needs God. I can't even write. So it's not just that we need God for salvation. We need God for him to be like, you know, hey, you're dead. Wake up. Come on. We are dependent on him. Without Christ, without God, existence is gone. Reality is gone. Which is also another fun philosophical thing. So that's kind of basically Pelagianism. You do see that kind of pop up every now and then, especially now, surprisingly. There's a lot of people who are kind of in the Christian camp, who are like, especially in college right now, who are like, oh yeah, like everybody's gonna be like, people are basically good. No, they're not. If you don't believe me, work in a restaurant or general merchandise.
Mhm.
People are not basically good.
Well, like, if that's the case,
I love them through Jesus. And sometimes that's the only way.
But that's
if you
where
think
it stops.
If you think
Sometimes.
people are born basically good, get married, have a kid, talk to me in 5 years.
Pretty much.
You don't have to teach a kid to whine and cry and scream when they don't get their way.
No.
But you have to teach them patience, how to tell the truth like they're supposed to,
Mhm.
how not to do certain things. Because inherently, we only want stuff for ourselves, and when we don't get it, we get mad. Amen.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna come back to this in just a second. So we've had two other councils that are kind of ecumenical councils. There's a lot of other smaller councils that are kind of popping up, but they're more local. These are some of the bigger ones. So at the First Council of Constantinople in 381, there's some things that happen, but the most important thing that comes out of that is they took the Nicene Creed and better explained the Holy Spirit. So if you ever go to a church and they recite the Nicene Creed, they're actually citing the creed coming out of the Council of Constantinople. But nobody wants to say the Constantinople, however you say that, creed. That's why they just were like, get Nicene. Just call it Nicene, because we're reaffirming it. We're not really adding to it, we're just expounding on it. Yeah. The Constantinopolitan Creed, whatever.
Constantinopolitan Creed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every creed comes with a bucket of ice cream.
Hey, I'd be good with that.
Creed DVD.
Oh, God.
Can you take me higher? Anyways,
So
then we have the Council of Ephesus.
That's the first page. Is
The Council of Ephesus dealt with Pelagianism and Nestorianism. So Nestorianism, the interesting thing here, and then we'll kind of trounce back. Nestorian was actually not at the council to defend himself and his followers. In fact, none of them were. So there's nobody in this camp that was there to actually defend themselves and like explain what. So they just got straight excommunicated. And
Dang.
It's like,
yeah,
it's like, we summoned you here, you didn't show up, bye-bye.
yeah. So what is Nestorianism believe? Here's what I'm gonna say. I question whether they were a true full-blown heresy or if they were just misunderstood. Because here's what they believe. So you have Jesus, who is human, and then you have the divine Son of God. There's no in there. I promise. Now, here's the part that I think that they may have gotten misunderstood. What comes out of the Council of Ephesus, I believe. Is it Ephesus? Pause for momentary. Yes. Okay. So the decision coming out of Ephesus is that Jesus is one person with two natures. Okay. So how would you kind of diagram that? About like that. How would you diagram Nestorianism? About like this. So the interesting thing is I think that they were misunderstood based on what Nestorian was saying, as most people thought they were saying that Jesus was two distinctly different people.
Oh.
That there was the human Jesus and there was the human Son of, or the divine Son of God.
So kind of like modalism, but with just the Jesus and his natures.
Sort of. It's kind of like it was. I think it could have been, not saying definitive one way or the other, that it could have been basically almost misunderstood like an adoptionism.
Yeah.
Because adoptionism is
While he was on the cross.
Jesus was the human, the Son of God, the Logos, adopted Jesus the human to be his avatar, basically. And then he died, and he was like, yeah, we're done. And then the Son of God part, the Logos, is what rose. That's adoptionism, more or less.
So adoptionism is Jesus got possessed by the Holy Spirit.
Pretty much.
Holy possession, so it's not bad.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not fully convinced that they were actually full blown like heretics.
Yeah.
But there is a positive here, because where did they go? They said, "You want to kick us out? That's fine." So they pack up all their stuff and they head east. Where did they stop?
Asia.
China. There's a painting. There's a painting of that one of our professors had actually seen in a pagoda that was built, that was known as a Nestorian monastery.
Ooh.
But it's several storks flying from west to east.
Oh, that's cool.
Also, in the city of Xi'an, where I have been, there's a place that they call the Stone Forest, which is basically just a bunch of like stone tablets that stand like they're planted in the ground. There's writings on them.
That's cool.
One of them, which is one of the oldest ones there, dates back to the 5th-ish century from what I remember, is an account of how Christianity came to China. And I really wish I had gotten a brass rubbing of it, because it would be really cool right now, but whatever, I'm gonna leave that. I'm not still sore about it at all.
Well, that just means you have to go back.
One of these days, day of Valente, Lord willing. But so that's kind of why I'm not fully convinced, is because of some of that. But also it had a positive, because now Christianity has been introduced to China, and kind of consequently that area. The other decision, or the other thing that came out of it was, or the other discussion that came out of specifically the Council of Ephesus, was a title for Mary. And the debate was whether they were going to call her Theotokos or Christotokos. So, has nothing to do with Takis, even though it looked like it might.
Theo
But
Takis
anyways,
and
yeah.
Christo Takis.
We getting the holy Takis, man. Hot Takis.
Oh,
Slight side note, the first time I saw Takis, I was like, this literally just like flavored bugles.
Did you eat one?
No,
Flavored what?
bugles. We used to call them witch fingers. It was
Oh.
literally the little like triangular,
Yeah.
hollow you
Mhm.
put on there. Yeah.
I
Anyways,
love yours.
yeah, I've never actually had Takis. Anyways, back to this.
There's only one good flavor. Just gonna say that.
Purple bag.
There's
The
more
rest
than
of
one.
them?
There's more than one bag. I thought that's the only one I ever
They
seen.
they only come. I think there's a big blue bag, but the rest of them come in like the little individual ones. They're not good.
Mm. There's
I think the blue one's edible. The rest of them are gross.
there's a green one that's like guacamole. It looks like somebody put chips in a bag and threw up in it.
Fun. All right.
Yeah.
So, put on your Greek hats. What does Theo mean?
Sorting hat.
God.
What does Christo mean?
Jesus.
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 Christ.
Oh, that's true.
Okay. So, Tokos means more or less mother or mother of. So,
Jesus.
Let me see. He lives in Wisconsin.
we'll take confession later. We're Baptist, but we'll do it this one time. Also, as a side note, that's one of my favorite things to do in like the most random times is just like throw up the sign of the cross and be like, I'm not Catholic, but you know, never hurts.
But you know, some stuff's going on that I don't really agree with, but so let's go.
Yeah.
Domain
suspension. Swamp of Serenity. Anyway, so the debate, we went
The
straight
debate.
up to Wisconsin here. So the debate is between whether Mary is the mother of God or whether Mary is the mother of Christ. And I totally went out of that, so I apologize.
Anyway.
Here's the fun thing. I think either is fine. Why is that? Why can we say that Mary is the mother of God and it'd be like, okay.
Because Jesus is God.
Yeah. Does this title put her over God?
No. I mean,
No.
it really doesn't do anything other than like, yeah, she's the mother of Jesus.
I mean, it's honorific.
Yeah.
Do I have a problem with Christotokos? No, because she birthed the baby Christ.
I still don't think people need to pray to her, but yeah.
Oh no, they said.
No, but this
the recent
this
pope was
title
like, yeah, we're not doing
specifically
No.
has, I mean, they're still praying to her. She's just not co-redemptrix. She's not
Yeah.
in process of the salvation.
Yeah.
Anyways, but this has nothing to do with that. This is strictly just an honorific.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, at this point, the Catholic Church as we know it today doesn't exist.
Does not exist, yeah.
It's not. Now, have they started using the term father or papa to refer to bishops? Yeah, somewhat. But it's not one bishop, it's like all bishops.
Yeah.
It's kind of like calling somebody brother in the Southern Baptist community.
Brother.
Everybody's brother, occasionally your reverend.
Yeah.
That's what
But-
they are here apparently.
Huh?
In the thing, it's reverend, but that's the honor.
That is the technical title.
We call him brother.
Yeah.
If you're a reverend, you're a doctor, we don't care, you're brother.
Pretty much.
Dr.
but-
Breck.
Here's why I don't have an issue with this, and I'm gonna walk through my logical thinking. If you disagree, you disagree. That's fine. I don't think this is something that we should fight over.
You can no longer be friends.
Okay.
Okay, it's either shade.
Super Smash Brothers Melee. Super Sudden Death. Anyway.
That was an escalation.
Yes, it was. We're not gonna fight over this. Let's fight to the death.
Super Sunday Brawl.
Sunday.
Almost said what I was thinking just a second.
Okay.
But, okay, so, Trinity. We have God the Father,
Mhm.
Holy Spirit, God the Son, right? Huh?
Retirement home.
No, that's over. Does Jesus being God the Son put him beneath God the Father?
No,
Why?
because they're the same person.
Exactly. So they're on equal planes. So I don't think, obviously, if God the Father and God the Son don't put them in a hierarchy, saying Mary is the mother of God is not necessarily going to put her in a position of, or even like, it's not the same same thing as being like CJ's mom or my mom.
Yeah.
Like they have a different, there's a different thing there. So that's my logical working out of that. But anyways,
It's like the whole my dad's bigger than your dad. My dad can beat up your dad.
yeah, kind of. So
My dad is the dad, shut up.
My dad is big heaven pappy.
Please don't.
no, what I was thinking with the whole like Sunday Smash Brothers brawl, I was like, I totally want to see Bowser pick up a pulpit and smash somebody with it, especially like Kirby.
He's like,
Kirby just eats the choir.
And they need to have like Brother Maynard, who's just like, blessed and thy holy name. Okay.
I had a thought and it just went away when you said that.
So that's kind of that. So let's kind of look, because we haven't really looked at this as of yet. 5th century Christianity. All right, so we know it's obviously like everywhere in Middle East. It's also in, or what other places do we know that it is?
Well, within the story and it was a little in Asia.
Yep. So specifically China, but also Asia. Where else?
Spain? I know Paul went to Spain. I don't know how much it actually.
So Spain. Where else?
North Africa, the Northern Africa
Yep.
coast.
So North Africa. Where else?
Turkey's considered Middle East, right?
I'm gonna throw them in with it. So
No, obviously Italy because of Rome.
yep. So
And I'm gonna say, and also Greece because of all the different places that Paul's visited and all the churches there.
Uh-huh.
So it's slowly taking Europe by storm.
Where else? Lyon. Lyon. We had a church father from Lyon,
France?
which was named what at that time?
Gaul.
Gaul.
And it was all one big.
Yeah, kind of. So we're kind of expanding out. There is a little bit just because of how the like Roman trades and all that. There's a little bit in Britain, but we have not yet really sent.
That's how the original Britain was written.
Really?
Yeah, right. Is it?
I probably misspelled that horribly.
I know that they're. I know when
I think it's
talking
because I was
about
thinking of Brittany,
okay.
which is technically.
Brittany. Don't talk about Brittany like that. Brittany, stop.
It's Brittany. Anyways,
No,
it's
Brittany.
we're not gonna finish that.
Where are you going? I'm going to Brittany.
So it started in Israel and very quickly spread to, I mean, really it almost immediately spread to all of the Middle East, Italy, Greece,
The known world, pretty
that
much.
right there, and North Africa. But we're starting to kind of really expand out. So,
And really down the coast of Eastern Africa, because Ethiopia is pretty.
yeah, Ethiopia was pretty.
Yeah.
They're one of the older churches.
That's in Africa.
Yes, it's in Africa. But North Africa.
Oh.
Ethiopia is.
It's kind of
Well,
It's mid Africa, ain't
Well, if you know where Somalia is like on the tip of
Yeah.
Ethiopia.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna
that's
say
basically-
like North Africa is anything touching
Yeah.
Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
Ethiopia.
anything below Egypt is not considered North Africa anymore. More like Central Africa.
So we're kind of expanding out. And then I think 6th century, either 6th or 7th century, they'll actually send missionaries to the Britons, the peoples, the Celts. But yeah.
Talking about 5th century, it spread that far. That's a lot.
Well, and the thing is, aside from Britain, all of those are very well established. Like we have,
you like actual churches, like you having bishops coming from these places,
yes,
except for maybe China.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah,
That's
but it
the
was
story is-
still well established.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to have like a really good afternoon search, if you want to look up the War of the Heavenly Horses, it was China versus Greece.
Ooh.
Over horses.
Here,
Wow.
China versus Greece. You have all this land in between.
Well-
that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I haven't done my like full study into it because I actually like stumbled over it, which I was like, I have studied world history. I have studied Chinese history, and I did not know about this. And I want to know about this because like the reason why they could was because of the Silk Road, which did predate the Romans.
Yeah. This one happened in 104 to 100 BC.
Yeah.
It says that. So is this like before?
Yeah,
This
the
is
war
before.
between was
I was
before.
that was a total
It was-
total
it was-
side note.
It
Total
was
side note.
around the height of Roman.
Because it says it was a.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't quite the height of Roman power, was it?
The
because Greece-
Caesars were like fairly
Yeah, 'cause-
relatively new.
Yeah, because Greece was. If it was at the height of their power, Greece was well within Roman. They had no reason to be fighting a war.
Yep.
Because it would have been Rome versus whoever.